So very recently, my old laptop, Windows laptop, just gave up. Screen doesn't work. I'm not ready to repair it because I have all my data backed up. I went ahead and bought this MacBook. She is heavy, but she is heavy duty as well. She does a lot of the work. So I finally made the switch to Apple, and I'll tell you more about it. So I finally made the switch to MacBooks, which is something that was a long time coming. I've always wanted to switch to MacBook, but never had not the money. I had the money, but I never was willing to pay for these overpriced products because that's what they are. But I will say it is worth it as well. And I'm also gonna help you give some insight on whether MacBooks are for you for music production and for your content video editing as well, or if it's not for you. So one of the first reasons I didn't get into Mac is simply because of the price. I just wasn't ready to commit to an overpriced product because in my opinion, Apple is overpriced, even the iPhones. But how I overcame that with my phones is I simply bought refurbished. All my iPhones were refurbished, and at some point I even just did it to make a buck selling iPhones. So that's how I did it. Another reason why I didn't want to get into Mac is because Mac was getting rid of all the ports, and that's what I actually like. I like having USB-A, Ethernet, a ton of fucking ports in there. There are so many more reasons, but there are just one I will end with, and that is simply the color. I never liked the color of Macs, and you might think, well, that's such a bogus, stupid reason, but I simply didn't dislike the colors because you can see fingerprints pretty easy on them. And with this new model, they had the most black color in history that they introduced to this laptop, and I really like darker colors because it's more neutral in your room too. You want everything to basically fit in with your furniture and stuff, but that's the most bogus reason. I'll admit that. My model is a little bit overkill for my needs, but I postponed way too long to buy a new Mac, and in Belgium it's very hard to have a good variation of refurbished devices. If they don't have the storage that I don't want, then they don't have the right RAM. If they don't have the right CPU, then they don't have the right format, because I am picky. I like 16-inch, I like big laptops. That's just how I like. I don't mind having a little extra weight in my backpack, and so shouldn't you. You should be thinking about this. If you're on a coffee shop, if you're someone that works at a coffee shop, you go to that coffee shop with a little less weight on your back. But once you're actually there where you're gonna work, you're gonna start doing this with your neck because your screen is so small. It's not efficient. Your touchpad is smaller as well. So that's why I kind of like to steer away from small laptops. If you want to know what you should do, you should think about this. 16-inch is better for performance, better for your fans. That means that your computer will be less loud when it's doing extensive tasks like video editing or exporting music, that kind of stuff. 14 is better when you move around a lot, but like a lot. You don't want to carry on around all that weight, but you do have to be reminded that you will have less performance and your computer will be louder. Next thing I will say is I'm new to the Apple ecosystem, and I didn't really know what to think of how good the fans were, or how silent they were, of how efficient the M1 chips are, and they're absolutely killing it. They were way over my expectations, and I knew that these computers were mind-blowing already. This computer is overkill for me. I'm not gonna deny that. I have bought the 16-inch, pretty much like the base model inside of the 16-inch era, so that means an M3 Pro processor, 18 gigabytes of RAM, 16-core neural engine. By the way, the CPU is like 12 core, but it's an M3 Pro, and I decided to upgrade my storage right from the get-go because on my old laptop I had that same terabyte of SSD right there. So that's really not the most amazing part. The most amazing part is that this laptop is excruciating silent. My old Windows laptop, I would boot it up if I could. That laptop was on a crazy level, especially when I was recording videos. It was really hard to get a good solid recording with not a lot of noise on the background. As simply was that hard. Also, for refurbished, there were a lot of models missing in my store in my country, and a lot of the times even the keyboard wasn't like the format I use. It was QWERTY, and the French keyboard is AZERTY. That's simply how it works. So that's what I'm used to. That's how I learned all my commands and hotkeys. And okay, you could try to relearn it, but it's more convenient if you stay with the keyboard layout of your region. So that's why I didn't buy refurbished. And when you wait too long like me and you postpone too long to buy a laptop, there will come laptops that are even more overkill than the ones that I wanted to buy. I wanted to buy the M1 because it's a lot cheaper. But yeah, it is what it is. Instant question that everyone's gonna ask me, do the plugins work? When M1 was introduced, a lot of plugins needed rewriting. Adobe is terribly slow with updating their stuff to the newest hardware. They take up to half a year. Some plugins do that too, but most of them will be rewritten in a month, so they will be officially supported on a new system. Now, I have installed these plugins, even installers that said they're only for M1 and M2. I installed it on my M3 and it all worked perfectly. So it's not supported, but it does work. I remember on the M1, nothing works, nothing booted, nothing. But right here, I'm having a little bit of luck. Actually, the only Waves plugin now that's not working is Autotune, which is pretty painful. OBS was the only other thing that didn't work on the M3, but after a day or so, I got an update and immediately OBS worked perfectly as well. Something that really struck to me is that with Mac, you have such a more stable experience, and I really do mean this. Even unplugging cables on my Windows could make all my programs crash, can make all my plugins crash. On the Mac, I simply don't have that. Audio stuff works way better. I don't even have to have a driver for my complete audio interface. I have a short 2-minute video on that interface. When I would want to install these drivers on my PC, I simply went into the native instruments page and I never saw a download button for the driver because there is no driver for Mac, because it just works on Mac. You just plug it in and it works, and I tried it and it actually worked perfectly. So you can use it with the built-in card on your laptop, which is great. The latency is so much better than on my Windows laptop on the highest settings even. For you guys out there that don't want to pay for your plugins, and I know there's a lot of people, Windows might still be the better option for you if you do that, because word has it that it will be way easier on there. Another big point, plugins. Installing plugins is super seamless on a Mac. On Windows, you have to have a location. I remember in the beginning when I started producing, it can be really confusing how to do that. So you have to have a folder where you install all the VSTs into, and on a Mac, all goes automatically into system folders. I really like to work with numpads for all my other work outside of producing as well. And the whole Mac lineup is missing a numpad. But unfortunately, I just gave in and decided that I was gonna go ahead and buy me an external Mac keyboard for all of my other work as well. Another thing that you should know is that Apple mice, they are bullshit. I've tried them in real life myself and they're just not worth it, trust me. So you're gonna have to get some type of gaming mouse. Now, unfortunately, I found out too late that Razer doesn't support their Synapse software, so that's the software to customize all of these buttons on the mouse. They don't support that on Mac. They have an old version. I tried a lot of stuff, other third-party apps. It just doesn't work. I really recommend to just get a gaming mice like SteelSeries or from Corsair. Just a brand with gaming mice that's perfect for producing. If you like to get plugins for free, stick to Windows. If you're gonna make content, definitely go for Mac. If you're someone that wants to make music a lot on the go or screen record a lot of music, then Mac is better because of the drivers. I record this video right now just off of the built-in audio interface into my computer, and I just use the channels of my external interface to record my piano, my guitar, my mic, my drum set, everything, and also output that without any latency to my speakers right here in front of me. That's my conclusion for y'all. If you have any questions, let them down below. I will answer these with a lot of thought. Overall, I'd say if you're someone that's picky with visuals, you know, you like the Mac OS, you like how it's like designed more slick than Windows, then definitely go for Mac. And if you're someone that doesn't care about that, then definitely go for the cheaper option, which is gonna be Windows. Windows is also for me a very bad thing because of the fans. I record a lot of videos, so keep that in mind. If you want to record with a mic, you're gonna have some fan noise when you do that with a Windows. I got a strong noise suppressor on when I was on my Windows, and I bet that I'm not even gonna need it on this computer, which is a good thing because noise suppressors, especially when you use them live, they use a lot of CPU and add latency. Okay, so that was it for this video. Definitely let me know if you have any thoughts in the comments, and I really appreciate you for watching.